You're watching News 4 at 6.
Tonight, my main man marches into the future. But first, a backwards glance.
And I told you I would make history in this segment of the news tonight, and I am, because for the first time in my career, I'm getting more time than George Michael. And if I go over, it's coming out of his time. So let's take our time. First of all, I thought I would stay at WRC about 3 years. Instead, my run lasted 32 years. And I'm really grateful for those years and for the breaks that got me here and kept me here.
The little town of Ponder, with its 200 or so inhabitants,
I look like this 35 years ago when I started in television at WFAA-TV Dallas. I did this story about a cafe in Ponder, Texas. It had no restrooms.
Where do you go if you want to wash your hands?
Well, you have to go to the filling station or go to the barn.
This line got me my job at WRC.
This is Arch Campbell, looking for that filling station about a half-mile up the road.
WRC 1974, the NBC building. Walking through these doors has given me a thrill every day I worked here. The first story I did, People Notice, put me in the middle of a field of turkeys on Thanksgiving for a report titled, "Turkeys Are Dumb."
Yes, this is your pig.
Then my boss told me to get one of the newly developed miniature pigs to see if I could raise it as a pet, like a dog. I did. Spot the Pig entered the solo singing dog contest and got on all the network newscasts that night. Ultimately, a pet farm took him. I'm free as the wind blows.
Good morning, everyone.
After that, I did a lot of things, including the Today Show cut-ins, even the weekend weather. In 1979, the original Star Trek premiered at the MacArthur Theater. My bosses liked my coverage and told me to review movies, plays, and report feature stories in a regular spot at 6 and 11.
One of my fans writes, Arch, I now know not to listen to any more of your movie reviews. It had me screaming, Maximus, Maximus, Maximus.
Here's what I don't like about Matrix 3. It's way too long and it's boring. There's not enough martial arts and, frankly, 7 words. What the hell are they talking about? It beats me. My favorite movies include The Godfather, Being There, and Silence of the Lambs. I hosted a late-night show for 5 years. Roseanne Barr appeared before she got famous. Martin Lawrence performed during his teenage years. My favorite story took me back to my hometown of San Antonio, Texas. I went back to the house where I grew up. I interviewed my mother. I paid tribute to my father. I went to my high school and found the teacher who told me to go into broadcasting. This story recharged my batteries because it reminded me who I am, where I came from, and why I like the things I like. Over the years, I stood on countless red carpets and interviewed almost everybody.
My first reaction was...
I'm in 3 scenes in Madonna's documentary, Truth or Dare. I had a walk-on in a musical at Kennedy Center.
Thanks, Arch.
You're welcome, Augusta.
I made a cameo appearance in an NBC soap.
Tripping to the green. Yes.
I took up golf and played with Sam Snead, Tip O'Neill, and the great Bob Hope.
I've watched you play, Arch, and I think, have you tried tennis?
I even rode an elephant in the circus parade and interviewed the guy who took care of them.
Cleaning up after the elephants, I mean, why don't you quit? Do something else.
What? And get out of showbiz?
Our friend and colleague Arch Campbell was diagnosed with colon cancer last summer.
Last year, doctors discovered I had colon cancer. Doreen Gensler made my story public. People tell me they got tested because of it. My treatment sapped me, but now I feel good again, and I hope my story helped. Backstage at NBC, broadcast performers sign their name on a flat when they leave. I've signed my name on this palm tree that once stood in the background of my late-night show. The first generation of television performers started this tradition.
So you had to shoot the film.
I knew some of those pioneers, including Bryson Rash, Washington's first local TV anchorman, and Pick Temple. His kid show made him our town's first TV superstar. I count Mac McGarry among my friends, the NBC announcer who invented Next. I worked with a lot of legends at Channel 4, including Willard Scott, Jim Hartz after he anchored the Today Show, the great Dave Marish before he went to Nightline, Cub reporter Katie Couric, and Jim Vance, with whom I have worked 32 years and 3 months. I've packed up my office. I'm taking my memories with me. Bring on the future.
But before I march into that future, these words for all of you who were so kind to me and watched me all these years. Thank you. And to those who made it possible for me to work here, thank you. And to all of you that I loved working with so much, thank you. And I will not say goodbye, but I will leave you with Next. But I really enjoyed working with you.
Let me tell you something. First of all, I hate this moment, which I thought would never come. But I was thinking about you today, and you know what the word that came to my mind was?
What?
Quintessence. And I looked it up. You know what quintessence is? The essence of a thing in its purest form. And that, my brother, is you. You the man.
Thank you.
You the man.
We love you, Arch.
All right, now everybody. Uh-oh. And I got more time than you. And this is coming out of your segment.
It all came out of sports. Number one, this is the sucker that made me go watch Blade Runner.
That's right. One of the greatest movies ever made.
Number two, because it's so touching. You know, you get them all choked up when you say that about quintessence. Number two, the fact
I'm working him like a puppet, folks.
Because Arch knows I love Jane Austen, he went and gave a good review to Pride and Prejudice. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. That movie sucked. If you went to see it because of his review, it's because he didn't want to bear. If you want the real Pride and Prejudice on A&E, Arch Campbell is one of a kind. There never has been and there never will be another Arch.
And that is.
And if you all want to know what we're like off the air, this is what it's like.
Right.
He says, I give it to
George on my knee all the time. Brian, too.
And with that, we best go to
away. We'll be back in a minute.
We might or might not be back.
We have some other things to do here.
A 5-star.
I'm George Michael. That's Thursday in Sports.
Thank you, George.
All right.
Thanks, George.
This is an awful day here at WIC, but we are going to get over it. And in fact, NBC Nightly News is next.
Good night.